I'm guessing you would think you weren't perfect by any means tonight, but how good did it feel to sort of play, I think, closer to your game and score some goals to maybe cover up some of the mistakes?
Yeah, it certainly helps the confidence when you start putting them in the net, right? And we just wanted to try and find some traction. I thought Elvis made some really big saves early in the game, especially the first period. They score late, but 1-1, I felt it was like, okay, we got through it, and this was a tough game, and it's not an excuse, it's a reality. We get in late, and it's back end of a 8-day trip, and we're 3-4, and they're rested, and so you're just hoping to keep that close, to be honest with you, just to try and so you can get traction. I felt like as the game went along, we started to get a little bit better. By the end of the second, third was probably our best period. So the scorers like to score. Teams like to score. When you're not winning, you're not scoring. It's usually the first thing to go, and it's hard to find, right? So you hope this can kind of catapult us into an area to kind of take a breath, relax with the puck, and start making some more plays. Because we had some issues with the puck. I mean, just the turnover stuff, right? You can tell we're just tense with it, and we got to get rid of that.
Right, you were happy with your third last night, but said you weren't creating much. Tonight you created a lot. What was the difference, or what was creating those opportunities?
Well, I think just like we talked, we scored. And when you start scoring, you can feel it on the bench. You can feel, okay, we can finish, and so it loosens everybody up. And even if one or two lines are just scoring, it helps the whole bench. So, take a breath. You're not squeezing as hard, and there is no magic formula to find that. Tonight they went in, and hopefully we can carry that over.
Brad, did you get the response you were looking for from Roslovic, at least in the third period?
Third period, yes. It was, I know Jack's got a better game, and and he was fighting it early in that game. That line was fighting it. They just didn't have it. And the third, he started to play. This is what Jack can do with his speed. I mean, it's a heck of a goal. Slashes through, grabs it. He started making plays. You can tell, just again, a goal, right? It just changes your mindset. All of a sudden, you take a breath, and the puck's your friend again. And so I'd love to see more of that from Jack, that third period right there.
2 goals out of Boquist, and obviously I think we're learning he can score, but when you can get that contribution from the back end, Zeke can do it, he can do it, that just seems like it just really brings the offense along as well.
Oh, yeah. It certainly balances it out, right? You can't just key in on one guy, and, Bo showed he's got a knack to put it in, he can finish. He's got a great shot. That first goal, well, actually both goals are nice goals, but he's slowly coming here, and if he can just keep building on his game, he can be a real special player.
Do you do things because you have this group of young players, or do you just do what you do without that in mind?
Okay, hold on. Let's go back. Go ahead.
Let's try it.
Yeah, let's try that again.
Cole Sillinger, do you handle him any differently than other players because he's 18 years old?
No, I don't. I think every player is different. I mean, you don't coach every player the same. We do a lot of team coaching, especially in this first 15, 20 games of situational and just positional and structure. But, now we're getting to the point where it's going to get a little bit more individual just because now I know what Cole is better now. I know what some of our veteran guys are struggling, so we've got to help them out. We got, every guy's different and their role is different. The Carlsons, the Bayrouths, they're all different than those guys. So, no, I don't think one shoe doesn't fit everybody, right? It's kind of a la carte a little bit.
You guys had more hits than they did tonight by a pretty good margin. Was that a point of emphasis?
That's great. I love to hear that. I really wasn't watching that. I mean, I want us to be physical when it presents itself. I mean, I want us to be that relentless, tenacious team, and we just haven't been able to do that. We've played some big teams, played some teams that are heavy and veteran teams. You look at that road trip when you're rolling through St. Louis and on a back-to-back, and that's a team that won not too long ago with some big heavy guys, and Nashville is a pretty good sized team, Dallas and obviously Washington. So I thought these are really good learning games for our group to see what it takes. And now you're 20 games in, and you can see the game gets harder. It's harder to create chances. It's harder to get your space. Teams are getting a little bit more dialed in on what they do. So it's a good process. Sometimes it's painful. We talk about it. You got to embrace the struggle sometimes. And even tonight, it wasn't smooth. But we got to the end of it, we got the result.
So it's becoming a bit of a trend, this getting goals waved off for offsides. We were talking about it, and we're curious what you're seeing. And, you know, it's not, and Todd speculated it's a club record, which is not obviously a record that you want to build on. But what's happening from your perspective, and how do you address something like that?
Well, we've had a few discussions about this. Did you see the empty net goal? That was close. Yeah. That was like old rules. Old rules probably would have been offside. We're obviously going to have to address it. These guys are pros. It's crazy to me that it's happened as much as it has. I'm pretty sure everybody understands the rule that the puck has to enter first, but maybe we should go over it a bit. That empty, look at that goal. It was like Tex almost goes offside, and I looked over at Pazzi sideways, and we looked down. I was nervous. I'm like, I think it was that close. So, you know what, I might address it with the team. Maybe I should. Don't assume, right?
I just want to ask about Sean Corrali, because he seems to be contributing in a lot of different ways, not just with a goal, but face-offs. He's winning face-offs. He's putting a lot of shots. He's hitting people. Just his contributions here, especially as you guys try to find your way out of this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that line I've had together ever since I moved Tex there for a while. You know, I've shuffled them around during this little bit of a skid, but they've been very consistent for me and very important. And Sean's been a real important guy in the middle for me as far as his face-off duties, the penalty kill, you know, taking a lot of hard assignments. So I thought he's brought a lot to us. You know, you love to see him chip in. That's great. You know, he gets a nice balance. But, you know, for all the hard work that they put in, it's nice to see them get rewarded offensively.
Here, I've got a dumb follow-up to the offside question, but those are momentum changers, because if you feel like you scored and then it comes off the board, I mean, I guess you've had some experience now having it happen a couple times, but do you just have to say something to guys that kind of keep them in it, because that can deflate you, I think.
Well, especially there's a little over 3 minutes left, and that was a different situation. Like, we didn't, you know, we're trying to keep the puck, and that is what it is. But some of them, it's way too close. Like, yeah, they definitely. I'll tell you what, if I'm on the other side and it's a 2-goal lead or a 1-goal lead and we catch a break, it's nice. So, you know, maybe we'll talk about it more.
Just quickly about Nyquist goal rubbed off, and then he hands one to Texier. What's that do, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, selfless, right? I don't know how it works when you're going down. But he doesn't have to do that. He scores a beauty, and then he ends up just dishing it off. So, you know, I think it says a lot about the individual that he was more happy to get the win than he was jamming home.